Basically, hi everyone, good evening. We're here today, week 14, and today we're going to talk a little bit about SEO. SEO, what is for search engine optimization. Of course, it's focused on Google, on being found on Google, because Google is the biggest search engine today. But SEO also has its effects, its implications on social media, and they work together. And social media also has its effects on SEO. So both of them are connected as they are part of digital marketing, and we're going to also to touch a little bit about how they connect together, social media and SEO. But today the purpose is to give you a general introduction and idea of SEO. And I remind you that this is part of basically there will be another course that I'm going to give about WordPress, website building, and also SEO and Google Ads. So if anyone wants to build a website or any type of website or learn how to build and work with websites using WordPress, they're welcome to join me, and supposed to start in 1 month. And you know the details, let me know at the end of the class today if you want, and I will give the information. Okay, so what is SEO? Let's go a bit through the basics of SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's a process of getting traffic from the so-called free or organic, editorial or natural search results on search engines. So before going inside Google and understanding how Google works, let's start with the basics about how the internet works and how website works and how it all fits together. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I've been online on internet really since almost the beginning of it, at least commercially in 1994. It was the first time I was online. Back in the days, it took like 3 minutes just to get online with the old modem. You had to go through your phone line. Like a fax, it used to make a lot of noises, lots of beeps, and it used to be very slow. And back in the days, the internet was very similar to just a list of channels with some text pages. That was the whole internet. If you don't know, then the internet was basically created and started before that, already in the 60s, by who? You know? Who created it?
No.
Yeah, right. The U.S. Navy, the Navy intelligence of the U.S. Army. So the reason was that there was the Cold War, and there was already the start of computers. Computers have been with us since the Second World War, but all this development was in the 60s and the beginning of the 70s. So basically the idea was to have, as you think about World Wide Web, the idea was to have a network of computers that are connected to each other. Yes, it started with the army that wanted to have, instead of having all the information in one place, they wanted to distribute the same information across different computers that could be in different countries even. The Americans had bases all over the world, and they wanted to have a closed system of communication so that they can exchange information. They can also access information from different places instead of having it in one place. Because if one place got hit, got stolen, got burned, and there was a problem, all the information will be lost and inaccessible. But if you're going to have the same information available across different places, across different physical computers that are connected, then basically you have a web, and then you cannot take it out unless you would take all the places out. And the same is true today for, you can call it also, it's called decentralization. So it means that it's not in a central point, but it's decentralized. So you have a lot of different points where the same information is spread out. Today, in the last 2 years, this phenomenon is very much active into for example, the currencies, digital currencies like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralized currency. The whole idea of a decentralized currency or digital currency is that it's not one central bank, one central database, but basically every computer that is connected to this database of the Bitcoin network is basically holding all the transaction history, all the information of the whole currency, of the whole Bitcoin. That's why also, if you heard about Bitcoins, then the people who are basically giving out or using their computer power to help to basically be what is called like a node, like a computer on this network of currencies, they are getting, in exchange for their computer power, they are getting coins. Okay, this is their compensation fee for the electricity and using their system. So the internet, once again, was built by the American army, and then slowly they started to use it also across academics, universities, colleges, and then it spread around the world with globalization in the 90s. And the first time I remember I loaded a picture on the internet, back in the days I was living in Europe, in Belgium, and the first picture I saw through the internet was a picture in 1995 of the funeral of Yitzhak Rabin, who was assassinated in 95, November. And I remember it took about 1.5 hours to download one picture, just to get an idea of how much the internet has advanced since then. Now, why I'm saying all of this introduction? Because first of all, you have to understand the architecture of how the internet is built so that you can understand the basics of Google and then SEO. So as I said, it's a network of computers that are connected all over the world, yes? So let's now move a step further. Website. What is a website? A website is a database of information that sits somewhere. It must sit somewhere. It must be somewhere. Now today, a lot of us are using things on the cloud. Yes, a lot of information on the cloud. Information can be on a device, like a computer or on the phone, sitting on the device itself, or it can be in the cloud somewhere. But exactly. So even if it's in the cloud, it still needs to be on a physical device somewhere in the world. Okay? And most of the times when we're talking about the physical device where the information is sitting, especially websites or any type of database, it is on a computer called a server. So server is a computer that its purpose is to store information and to be accessible through a network with a cable, and so it's connected to the internet. So most of the websites, almost all of them basically, are stored on servers. And until 5 or 10 years ago, you had to basically buy or rent a server, like a physical pieces of computer, of hardware, that was holding this information for you, that you could access from far away to update it and access it, and also that you could connect it to the internet so that the public can also find it and basically go inside it and reach it. Now, as we move to the cloud, what is the difference between this and the cloud? Is that today, instead of renting or owning a piece of hardware of this physical server, you can basically rent out a piece of a cloud server that is basically giant, almost I would say cities. It's really giant warehouses that are all over the world that are basically operated by the giant companies like the big cloud services, which are Google, Amazon, Microsoft, right? So those are the giant storage units today. And they are storing basically a big amount of all the information databases today available online through the cloud, just because it's usually for all the companies and private people like us, it's cheaper to use such type of service instead of buying a server for ourselves or renting it directly. So if you have a website, no matter what type of website, it needs to be hosted somewhere. So you need to pay someone to host it somewhere, right? You can go to GoDaddy, the same place where you would go to buy a domain, and you need two things to be online, to have a website that will be accessible. You need a domain name, right? And you need a server, hosting server, where you are hosting your website. Those are the two elements that are key to any website. Domain name is basically the address. How does someone get to you? If you want to access the website of CNN, you need to type onto your browser cnn.com. This is a domain name. This is basically the address, the real estate that you bought, that people can find the information through it. Okay. So what is a domain name? Well, domain name today, you all know, it's a series of letters or numbers, and there are different extensions. The extension is the last part, like .com, .net, .co, .il, right? Every country has its own extension, right? There are international extensions, and the most famous one is .com, right? That's why also, because it is, no, it's not possible that two companies will have the same domain name at the same time, right? So you can buy a domain name, and then it's yours. And some very good short or special names, you know, Coca-Cola.com or Nike.com, if you would have bought it many years ago, you could have sold it to the company for a lot of money. Some names, domain names like real estate, has value because it has a limited supply, right? So you can't, let's say you want to have a website called business.com. When someone bought it a few years ago, he paid more than $1 million for it because it was a valuable name. So the name is important. But how does it work? Let's say, now let's try to understand. If someone is typing on your Google Chrome or on the phone, let's say CNN.com, what happens in the background, okay? How does it work? So when someone types on this domain, the first thing you need to understand is what's happening on your side. So you are somewhere physically, okay? Either you're using your phone or you're using a computer. So you have what is called an IP, right? IP is basically your IP address, or it's your internet protocol address, is basically your device's address on the internet. It connects to a network of computer, right? And it's built like a web. So it's like a pyramid of different types of servers that are connected to each other. So I'm here now in Tel Aviv, okay? You can go, I'll show you for the example. This is Google. If I go to website, which is what is my IP, okay? It will show me what is currently my address through which I am connecting to the internet. Let's see. Okay, so right now you can see an address, okay, public IP. It's not, you know, it's not using a GPS, so it's not showing my physical address where I am right now in Tel Aviv. It's showing me basically an address of the server of this company, which is called Xphone 018 Ltd, right? So let's understand what it means here, okay? So most of the addresses today, okay, the most popular type of address is something like this. It's called IP version 4. And usually, the first part of the address, like a phone number, it's like a country code. Like in the country code, you have 972 for Israel. Same thing for the IP addresses. You used to have different country codes, like 212 was, for example, one of the IP codes of Israel. Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. Yes. Okay, let's make a little break and then we'll continue. 1 second. Paying for the internet. So normally when you're paying for the internet, you're getting a unique IP or an IP that changes every time that you basically disconnect and reconnect to your ISP, to your internet provider, through your router at home, right? You have this box. This box, when you plug it in or out, then it can basically ask from the internet provider a number for you. And by the way, this is one of the reasons that when you are surfing on the internet from home or from your phone, if someone would like to know, let's say the police, FBI, whatever, you're doing some illegal things, they can find out that you did it, or that you visited this website, or that you did this, because somewhere it is recorded. And they know that this computer address, this IP address, belongs to this person or to that company. So this is the way of knowing. And if you're asking me what is this number, this is not part of the SEO, but this local IP, when you have a number like this, it means that right now I'm using Wi-Fi, or I'm using a router from this place, and this is basically the network. It's like the local IP is a network. It's not the outside, but all of the computers right now, all of us that are connected to the Wi-Fi here, to the internet through this office, we all have basically the same address for the outside world, because we all go to the internet from one central point outside. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a bit confused with something.
Yeah.
So in theory, the IP here will always be 141 blah 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 from this office, right? For some reason, in my home camera, I need to have something called a static IP.
Yeah.
What is that? They told me something that will never change.
Great question. Okay, so exactly. So normally, if you want a static IP, a fixed IP, it will only be for you all the time the same. There are two types of static IP. There is the internal one for inside your home, inside your own network. Okay, like I showed you here, the local IP is 10.0.0.0.1.5. It means I am computer 15 or the 15th person that is connected to this local network. Now, if I disconnect and reconnect, I might be 0013, 15. This is my internal IP. So if I want, if for example, I'm a printer in this office, and I want to send, for all of us, we want to send out something to print in the printer of this office, it needs to have the same IP all the time, because if not, then we won't find it, okay? So this is like having a static IP for within an organization or within a home with one router. The router is the one that can give out and control who is getting which address. So you can organize on your own home network, give out a static IP to a camera, so you know which camera is what, for example. This is one option. The same thing goes also for the outside world. So when you are connecting to your ISP, to internet service provider like NetVision or Xphone, etc., normally by default they have a set of numbers, and every time you connect again to or you disconnect from your service provider and you reconnect, you would get another number, because it's like the router at home. Okay, it picks a random number that is available from the range of numbers that this company has at the moment. But once again, if you're going to pay extra or you need special internet, then you need to have a static IP. A static IP or fixed IP or a dedicated IP. Usually you'll have to pay more, okay, because this is like an extra service so that you will have a fixed address online. Who needs a fixed IP? I'll tell you, website. So for website, the same thing. Websites, all the websites have basically an address. We talked about that they have a domain name, right? This is, for example, CNN.com is the domain name. But when I type into the window CNN.com, okay, I'll explain in a second. It's exactly this. Let me show you. Let me show you an example. I said CNN.com, okay? What is DNS? Now you'll see what is DNS. Here you go. So DNS is domain name service, okay? What's happening that we are talking to computers. And rule number one with computers, no matter if it's in 2019 or 1945, well, computers, basically, they only understand numbers, right? At the end, they only understand two numbers, 1 and 0, binary, 1 or 0. Everything we do on computers, everything, video, images, everything, every type of information, every button we press, somewhere at the end, it's translated to 1 and 0. That's it. So it's a series of 1 and 0s that the computer can understand and know what to do with it. Same thing goes for websites. At the end, the website doesn't know letters. It doesn't know CNN.com. But through this DNS, it's like the yellow pages, okay, of the internet, it translates or it knows that CNN.com has this IP address, okay? This is the IP address. This is the computer server that if I connect to it from my computer right now, I will be able to see the information from CNN.com, from their website. Okay, so every domain name, the letters, needs to be translated into an IP address, into a number. That is the address where the website information is currently sitting. Now, if we want to make a little exercise, which is fun. Second. Okay, so what I want to show you right now is what is happening if I'm going to go from here to CNN.com.
Il y a un abonnement sur What's My App.
Second, it's checking. Basically, it should show me normally. It will show me what happened, okay, through which computer it connected to go to CNN.com. Usually, it has to go. I don't know if you can see it here. It doesn't work well, but normally it will show you a map of the whole world. And when I tap CNN.com, it will go from here to the ISP somewhere in Petah Tikva or Rosh Hashanah or wherever. Then from Rosh Hashanah or Petah Tikva, it will go through the either to another web server, big internet cable in Tel Aviv. Then from Tel Aviv it will go through the sea. There is an underwater cable that connects the internet from Israel to Europe. Then from Europe it will go to under the sea once again to America, right? And then it will go to the server somewhere in the America where CNN is hosting their website. Okay, it's called web tracing or domain tracing, and you can play with it. So this is how it works. Now, why all of this is important? Because let's go back to SEO. SEO was born in the beginning of the internet. What we had was, who knows what was the first way to find information online before there was Google?
Yahoo.
Yes, Yahoo. So Yahoo was the first basically way that you could search and find the information that you wanted on the internet. And Yahoo, what did Yahoo do? They took the same idea, or right now it changed a lot, but they took the same idea that was in the old world, right, of the telephone industry. You all had yellow books, okay? Yellow books. You used to get at home every year a yellow book, because it was in yellow, right? And if you wanted to order a pizza, you had to open your yellow book, go with the letter P for pizzas, and then you had a list of pizzas per city, right? And same thing they did online. So what happened is that they basically built an online directory of all the websites, okay? Actually, not all of the websites, because they couldn't find all the websites. So basically, they were listing them according to categories, okay? So if I was making a new website, and actually I did a website, my first website in '95, and I wanted to list it on Yahoo, I had to go to Yahoo and submit my website, like you would go to Yellow Pages, also the same thing. You had to send a form or fill out a form, tell them this is my URL, this is my domain address, and then I had to choose a category. I think my website is a personal website, or I'm selling whatever, shoes, or I'm a blog, right? And then, or I'm writing something sports category. I had to choose a category, put my address, put a title to my website, and then Yahoo will check it and approve it. And after a few days or weeks, it would be inserted and available in the online directory of Yahoo. This is the way that people could find where to look for the information. And also they had a staff of people that would go looking for other websites and add them to start to organize the internet. And of course, it's not very practical because you are dependent on humans that are giving out this information, submitting the website, and also on the fact that you had to add a lot of staff that will manually check and find out websites and information and organize everything. And then came another company and tried to take it one step further. Maybe you remember the name. The next round, next level of online searching was a company called Alta Vista. So Alta Vista took it one step further and said, wait a minute. They were programmers, and they said, okay, let's build a web program, okay, computer program that will do the work that our people are doing manually. That will go and find websites and add them to this directory. Same idea, but a bit more automatically through a computer. This is like one step further. And then what happened that Alta Vista, people started to use Alta Vista because there were more websites on Alta Vista, right? And Alta Vista, because it was computers that was programming, that was reading and finding other websites and adding them to this to their own directory, they could also read inside the website like pages. So they could not only see the main website, the homepage of the website, they could also list, and you can find on the Alta Vista search, you could find categories or pages inside the website. You had more websites, more up to date because it was working faster. Computers always work faster than humans, and a deeper level. So this was stage 2. And then came Google, right? Google was invented by who? You know? Sergey and Larry. Sergey Brin and Larry Page. And they were both Jewish, from a Russian origin, right? So they were both students at Harvard, studying at computer science. And they say, okay, very nice. We have Alta Vista. We have Yahoo. Let's try to take it one step further. They were learning computer science at Harvard. Harvard has a lot of computer resources, a lot of computer power. So they say, okay, let's try to do it even better. Okay, and what they did, they built not a program, they built an algorithm, or they built an intelligent computer program or algorithm, search algorithm, the first search algorithm. And instead, because they were building an algorithm and they had a lot of computer power available, instead of going and finding websites, adding them to a list like Alta Vista or Yahoo, they would do something even better. They would do it faster and they would do it much deeper, because they were not going to read and find only the addresses of the website, which was what Alta Vista was doing. They had the capacity, they built with their program, to go inside the website themselves and read the pages, read what is the content of the page. Okay, so Google was the first one to basically be able with a computer to find websites, find pages, go inside the website, inside the pages, and read the content of the page. And then keep all this information, store it somewhere, and make it available to the public so that they can search it. This process is called crawling. That's why it's called, at the beginning, a browser was called a crawler, a web crawler. What is crawling in English? It's crawling inside, right? Because you had to go inside the web like a spider and find out the website or the information that you need. That's why it's called a crawler. So Google was the first basically crawler that was crawling inside and crawling the web and finding out new information 24/7 all the time, and thus becoming bigger and bigger. That's why very fast people left Yahoo and started to use Google, because it was the best way to find out the most up-to-date and relevant information for you. This is the basics about Google. Go ahead. Question.
I saw an article like 10 years ago about when they begin to systematically put all the Gemara in the computer file, they create a program that helps boost Google as a search engine. True?
I don't know about I know that
there are something like
that.
The Gemara is so big.
There are websites that are basically scanning information, like books or Gemara, yes, encyclopedias, and then are putting it online. And when it's online, the researchers or the public can search for information much easier and find out interesting connections. Okay. Now, it's not the topic of today, but the last, like the most up-to-date trend of the future is what is called a machine learning. Okay. So you don't even need a human, because the machine, you can teach the machine to go and find the information, go inside all the information that's available online, and find results from it, find patterns, find interesting things that are happening. Okay? So there is a very famous Israeli young scientist that is, she was working for, she's still working for eBay, and she used these build programs for the computer, those machine learning machines, to go and find from the information that's available online a lot of interesting things. For example, she found out that if in one side of the world there is a hurricane, then the chances of being an earthquake in Africa 3 months after is 80% higher. So she found like correlations between different things because of the information out there, and the computer found it out. Okay, back to SEO. So I explained Google, I explained Yahoo, the difference between them and how Google is indexing websites. Okay, now next thing we need to understand is how Google is listing information. And this is what SEO is. It's how Google is basically showing me the information that I want. So if I'm typing now pizza, what will happen? Let's see. Okay. So of course it changed over the years, but right now this is what is happening. So first things, let's see, from the top to the bottom. Notice on the screen it already asked me for my location, right? On the phone, usually it already has your location. And what's happening is if they have your location using the GPS of your phone, then they will show you the pizzas that are around you. Okay, so they will try to show you the most relevant information, and also use geolocation to show you the information that is closest to you. But first, they need to make money, right? So the first thing they're going to show you is an ad. Okay? Usually the first 1, 2, 3 results are ads. They look the same, but you can see here it says ad. That's how you know it is an ad. Okay? So you have an ad. Okay? You can see also added information about this business. You can see the address, you can see the phone number, you can see it's open, right? Then you can see a map, because Google also has Google Maps. So you can see the maps. Once again, to show you usually the pizzas that are closest to you. It knows I'm in Tel Aviv more or less. It doesn't know where exactly, so it shows me pizzas in Tel Aviv. Okay. Now on the right side, it will show me information about pizza. Where from? From something very famous, Wikipedia. Because until now, and one of the first or the most valuable ways, or the ways that people use the internet, is to find information, to understand a new word, to research something, because they're curious about something. So a lot of times you will see on the right side information from an encyclopedia, and the #1 encyclopedia today online is Wikipedia. Then you see Domino's. Now you see Domino's is not an ad, it doesn't say ad here. So Domino's basically are the first result that is what is called organic. It means they didn't pay Google to be here. Okay? They are simply here because Google's algorithm, Google's computer thought that this is the best result, the most relevant results for pizza for someone who is connected from this IP address here in Israel and in Tel Aviv. Then Google also has news, so it will show me stories about pizzas. You can see stories from the last hours about pizza. Because Google, when I type pizza, it's a very general keyword. It doesn't know if I want to order a pizza, if I want to learn what is a pizza, right? So it will try to show me all the different options. It will also give me suggestions, as you can see here on the right, suggestions for other things. Then you'll see other pizzas. Now, you see some of them have ratings, okay? Those businesses that have ratings, so they have more information sometimes, like the prices, or their addresses, where some of them are using something which is called like Google My Business. They have a listing for their business, and that's why also you can find it here on the map. And in one of the classes that is left, I'm going to show you how you can also add yourself to Google, even if you don't have a website, through what is called Google My Business, and have your own Google listing with all the information, like your phone number, your address, and things like that, which will be basically the way that people can also find you easier on a location basis. So if you're based in Netanya and you want to offer your services to people in Netanya, would be very helpful to have and tell Google what is your address in Netanya so that you have a better chance of being there when they look for you. Okay, so this it shows you also the location, Tel Aviv, Yafo. That's why it's trying to find me and to show me pizzeriot from Tel Aviv. Now all those results here, they are organic results. And basically the process of SEO is trying to, let's say if I'm working for Pizza Hut, and right now Domino's Pizza is the #1, I will try as an SEO manager to try to push Pizza Hut higher in the rankings. This is the whole process of SEO. Now, in order to do that, we need to understand how is Google, what the rules are Google using to rank the websites, and which one is #1, which one is #10, etc. So now I'm going to go here, and using the information I already gave you, I'm going to show you a short movie that will show you exactly, and in images, what I meant, how Google is working, and how it will basically work, the principles, then we're going to dive deeper into it.
This is Search Engine Optimization, explained by Commoncraft, in collaboration with Search Engine Land. Imagine for a minute that you're a librarian, but not a normal one. You're a librarian for every book in the world. People depend on you every day to find the exact book they need. What do you do? You need a system. You need to know what's inside every book and how much of it is in. Your system needs to take in a lot of information. It's not the best answer for business questions. It's not an easy job. Search engines like Google and Bing are the librarians of the internet. Their systems collect information about every page on the web, so they can help you find exactly what you're looking for. Every search engine has a secret recipe, called an algorithm, which will get all the information that you use to search results. Now, if you want a website, search results are better. When your pages have higher rankings, they have more people follow you. Key to higher rankings is making sure your website has the ingredients search engines need for their recipes. This is called search engine optimization, or SEO. As it turns out, most of the big ingredients are known. Let's take a look. First, words matter. Search engines account for every word on the web. This way, if someone searches for shoe repair, search engines can narrow results to only the pages that are about those words. Second, titles matter. Each page on the web has an official title, and you may not ever see it because it's incomplete. Search engines may have modifications to page titles because they often summarize the page, like a book's title. Third, links between websites matter. When one web page links to another, it's usually a recommendation. Good search engines. But some people try to fool the search engines by creating or buying bogus links all over the web and point to their wrong website. Usually, search engines can't detect when a site has a lot of them, and they account for it by giving links from trustworthy sites or way in the recipe. Fourth, the worders that are used in links matter too. If your web page says Amazon has lots of books, and the word books is linked, search engines can establish that Amazon.com is related to the word books. This way, when someone searches for books, that site will rank quickly. Lastly, search engines care about reputation. Sites with a consistent record of fresh, engaging content and growing numbers of quality links may be considered rising stars in the web and search rankings. These are just the basics, and the recipes are refined and changed all the time. Good SEO is about making sure your website has great content that's supported by the ingredients that search engines need for their recipes. I'm Lena Fever, and this has been Search Engine Optimization.
Okay, so did you understand a little bit? Did it help?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the links. Should I have a website? Does that mean I should put a lot of links in there?
Well, the answer is very complicated. So we're going to go one by one. It's a whole process, and it would take months of a course to really go through all of it. But now you saw basically some basics. Okay, what are the elements that are influencing and important for SEO? And that shows us basically this image right now that you can see here. Let me see if I can show it to you bigger. No. Okay. So basically here you have a pyramid. Okay. And this pyramid is showing some of the factors that are relevant to the search result, to the SEO, and to your performance on Google. So, by the way, in this video, it mentioned, and this video will be available, like all of this information here, of course, on the course page. This video mentioned things like links, like reputation, and links and reputation. It's also social media, because if you have a lot of tweets or people retweet your tweets to your article on your website, or people are talking about a post on your Facebook that links back to you, or your page links back to you, all those things are links and are basically helping your reputation. That's why I said that social media, it's an example how social media can affect your SEO rankings on Google for your website. That's why, once again, they all work together nicely. Let's look briefly at this image and understand this pyramid. So, by the way, curious, like a trivia question. Who knows what's Maslow? Anyone has heard about him? So, no. Okay, so no one here has studied probably sociology or psychology or anthropology. Maslow was an academic, a scientist that basically built a pyramid of, or hierarchy of needs for human beings. Okay, so he said that we all have basic needs as human beings. The number one is what we need more than anything else: air, first of all, oxygen, which is obvious. Then, yes, we need food. Can't live a few days only without food. That's it. We need shelter, because if not, we're going to freeze to death. We need to have sometimes shelter from warm or cold. We need security, right? If not, if we're going to get killed by bears or by other people, then we won't be able to survive. And the more we go higher in the pyramid, become things like social interaction. So they made experience, and they saw that people need to be around other people, or not, they will have serious problems. Same thing with SEO. Let's try to see a pyramid of priorities for SEO. So on the bottom is basically the basics, the most important fundamental things with SEO. What is essential to rankings? Number one is, remember I told you what is crawling. Crawling is the ability for the search algorithms or Google to basically enter and read your website, access your website. This is crawling. So the number one rule is that your website should be accessible. It should be possible for Google to find your website, to go and view it and go inside it, and to read your website, to understand how it is built. This is needed to reach and to index your content. If your website has problems, technical problems, your server is not good, it's down, so it cannot be reached, or you didn't build your website using a good software, or you didn't do it properly, maybe your website is a mess, and then Google cannot index it properly and understand what is the homepage, what is the most important pages, and how is the structure of the website. So this is rule number one. Of course, today, if you're using one of the basics, what's called like a CMS, a content management system, which is basically the way that you operate or build websites, like WordPress, Shopify, things like this, then it will be easy and it will be accessible, and you will have basically the basics, the fundamentals of what you need to be found on Google. Number two, the most important thing is compelling content, meaning that you need to have quality content, content that is relevant, content that is the answer to the searcher's query. So if I type a question like pizza in Tel Aviv, Google will show my website in case that it is relevant for this search query, for this is the answer to the question. So if in my website, I wrote down things like best pizza in Tel Aviv, I have a chance of being there. If I didn't write pizza in Tel Aviv, there is no chance that Google will put me there, because for Google, it doesn't know I'm relevant. So you need to be relevant by showing the right relevant content to Google and then to the public. Third thing is that you need to use the right keywords. Google is a robot, is a computer. They cannot understand feeling. They don't know what you feel and what you want. They can only read words that you have written on your website. So if you are using the right keywords, because you made good research and you found out what your public, what your customers are looking for on Google, and you add these words in a nice way on your website, then you'll be able to attract people and Google and to put your website in a good place. Then you need to have also a great user experience. What does the user experience mean? It means Google is trying to give their users, every one of us who is using Google, we want to have a good experience. Being that we don't want to, for example, to have a website that we need to wait 10 seconds for it to load. We don't have patience for that. If it doesn't load quickly, we will simply close it. That's why that Google is taking into account when we talk about user experience things like how fast does the website load and show to you, how easy it is to use. For example, is it well organized? Does it have a good menu? Are the fonts the right sizes? Is the information well categorized and organized in your website? And also, compelling UI on any device. What is UI? The letters UI, you know? User interface, yeah? So user interface is basically how it looks, the graphical side, okay? So when it means compelling UI on any device, it means today we know that most of the people, majority, 55 to 60% of the search queries of people are using their mobile phone. So you want your website to be accessible and viewable and optimized for mobile, right? I might have had the best website and the best rankings for the computers 5 years ago, but if I didn't update my website and now it looks very bad on iPhone or Android, then it will have a big impact on my Google rankings as well. Then I need to have content that is share-worthy, meaning that it's showing that it has quality content that people are referring to, are using, are liking, are sharing, are giving to other people. This is a way of proving to Google that my content has good quality, is relevant, is up to date, and therefore it will show it. So the way is earning links, citation amplification, meaning links is, for example, if I have other websites that are putting a link to my website because I have information that is relevant, is good. Citation is more or less the same. It's when someone is basically quoting something from my website and giving a reference back to me. Amplification is things like social media. So if a lot of places are retweeting, sharing my content that links to my website, I will have extra points with Google. Then higher on the pyramid, we have things that still matter today, like very simple, the title of the website, what you show on Google, what is the title of the website. We have title, URL, and description, okay, to draw high CTR in the rankings. What does it mean? Let me show you. So this is the search results of Google, okay? It is divided into 3 parts. The description, which is the title, sorry, the title, okay? This is the first thing that people see is the title. The address or the domain of the website, and then below that, these 2 or 3 lines of text, which is the description. Now I, as a website owner, or the SEO manager of a website, I can change it. I have control over it, and it is very, very, very important. So I want to choose the right title for my website that includes my name, my subject or my industry, maybe my location, and maybe 1 or 2 keywords that are very important to my niche or my industry or my product. I want to use it to my advantage. Same thing with the domain. If I can, I want to have a domain that includes a very key keyword of my product or service. For example, in this case, pizza. So I would rather have something, if I'm selling a pizza, that includes the word pizza to help me to rank. But for example, this guy, he has Pizza 25. It doesn't mention in the domain name Tel Aviv. So he mentioned it here in the title instead. And same thing about the description. I want to use the description best way I can to include a maximum amount of keywords, of things that will help me to be found and attract the right people in the searches, but also to give out a good description that is attractive to people that would see it, so that they will motivate them to click on my ad, on my, sorry, not my ad, my website, my results on Google Ads. So the more people click on this, the more also it will increase my chances of going higher and higher in the rankings. Yes, great question. So by default, if I don't change it, Google automatically will take the first 2 sentences or 3 sentences it finds on my website, starting from the top. Okay, so that's why you have to be careful of what you put in the beginning. Or the alternative, the best way to do it, is that there is another way of telling Google and choosing what you want to put here, even if you have something else on your website that the public sees. And this is using the coding. Okay, so if we go into the code of the website, there is a special place in the code where I can tell Google what I want to appear here. And this can be done on all the platforms, on WordPress, on Shopify, on Wix, or directly on website that you code yourself. But of course, if you're using services like Wix or WordPress, it will be easier for you to do it. You don't need to be a programmer to do it. You only need to know that it exists and to find it. Even Wix will help you or tell you where you can do all of those SEO type of optimization, etc. And finally, all the way up, it's called like it's something quite new. It's called like a snippet of schema markup to stand out in SERPs. SERP stands for Search Engines. So the snippet of the schema markup is basically to have some extra on how the people see me on Google. Let me give you an example. Those are classical listings. You have the title, domain name, and 2 sentences of the description. What is a snippet? Here you can see a snippet. This is a snippet. It's an extra information about the website because I can see here the phone number, the address. This is one snippet. For example, it shows me a link, a direct link to basically see some menus, for example, and here I can directly go to the order page of Pizza Hut. So if I am using the latest features of Google, I can basically also have my website to have a location, to be here in the maps. And when I'm making the ad, I can have not only my description, the basic description like this, but also add this extra information that is a snippet. So those are snippets. So this is like a general overview of the pyramid and the priorities with SEO. And now, after the break, I'm going to show you, and we're going to go deeper into all the different factors that are important in SEO and try to give you a good overview that you know everything that is an important factor in 2019 in SEO. So thank you, and I'll see you after the break. But maybe before you go on break, okay, guys. So what you're seeing here behind me is for all those that went to their science classes in high school or university. It's like the periodic table in the chemistry and all the matters, right? So H2O and all those things. But they did something similar for SEO, for Google ranking. So what we're trying to do is to understand how the Google algorithm, the computer of Google, is looking at different factors to rank the websites. And those things are changing all the time. So it's like a race, okay? So everyone is trying to compete against each other. Of course, websites are trying to be smarter than their competition and to understand what are the factors that Google is using and try to use it in their favor and trick the Google computer, the Google algorithm into ranking them higher than their competitors. And those factors are changing all the time. So what was working in 2015 is not the same as 2016, and it keeps changing all the time, because every time that someone finds a trick to try to rank higher on Google, if people are abusing something, they will change their algorithm and they will adjust it to take into account those things and make sure that no one is exploiting the algorithm and showing results that shouldn't be on the top side, because Google is trying to get the best experience of the user, so they don't want to give advantages to people who are using any, what's called, in the words of the SEO market, there is white hat and black hat SEO. So white hat, we're using white hat is basically everything which is allowed, which is legal, so-called legal by Google, and you won't get punished if you do that. And black hat is when you are hiding something from Google, you're trying to trick Google into thinking that you're something, but actually you're not. So you're trying to use some of the elements in your advantage, but in a way that is not allowed and not objective. And if you are catched, if you are found by Google that you use those black hat techniques, then Google will punish you. They will penalize you, and you can lose part of your positions, part of your rankings, or you can completely lose your ranking and basically disappear. And as you very much know, if you're not on Google, it's like you don't exist, because most people don't remember domain names, and they use Google to access any type of website every day. And if they're looking for you, they don't find it on Google, it will automatically basically mean that you are not either not existing or not to be trusted. So it's basically like a sign of that. So you want to avoid it and try not to do anything. So if you go to search on Google when you're going to start working on your own SEO or your client SEO, don't try and find tips, tactics that are black hat, that are not allowed, that are risky, because the penalty is not worth the risk. With that said, yes, people and companies still use it. If you have big resources, if you have a big budget, and you can allow yourself to build websites and lose them, and then rebuild other websites and buy new domain names, and you have a lot of money, and there's a lot of money involved, then it is worthwhile to take the risk, because even if it works for 7 days or 3 months, you'll make so much money out of it that you don't care that after a while you'll be penalized and punished by Google. And where does it work the best? In all the industries where there's a lot of money to be made online. Maybe the number one or the top ones are, you know, gambling, gambling, betting, trading, all those things that Israeli companies are very good at. So actually there are thousands of people, and fortunately or unfortunately, many Olim and English-speaking and language-speaking people in Tel Aviv, if they, well, when they find a job or they go to work in one of those online gaming or online trading companies, and most of them have, or they allocate a lot of money into the SEO side to try to trick and to be the top results in Google, because there's a lot of money to be made every day. Okay, now let's try and dive into this very nice table. So this table is divided into different columns, as you can see, with different colors. Okay, they took the same idea like once again, like the periodic table. So we have green, blue, right? And on the right side, you have two interesting columns. One is called toxins, or basically they mean by this things that are not good, that will basically hurt your rankings. And on the bottom here in yellow, you have emerging verticals, which are basically new trends, upcoming trends, things that are becoming more and more important in 2019.
You don't have that, right?
You will have this. Don't worry. But now, right now, you only need to look and listen. Let's start with the left column, because the left column is like the most important, and then it goes down. So I'll zoom in. Okay, let's start with the top one. +3 in all of those columns. Quality. Quality, as we have said before, page must be well written and highly valuable. Content is king. At the end, what Google is trying to do is to show the users the most valuable content for their search, right? So they're trying everything they can with their machines, with the computer, to try to detect what is really the best content and the best experience. So another element which is related to content is research. As an SEO manager, you want to research and find out what are the keywords that you want to rank for that people are using. And then you want to try to use them in your page. Keywords, you can see here, build target keywords into your pages. So you want to try to add them into your content, but in a way that is natural. You don't want to write 1,000 times pizza, 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 because Google will find it stupid. It's a spam trick and it won't help you. You do want to try to use a few times the word pizza, but in a way that is natural, that is like someone would write an article. So it's better if you have 5,000 word articles about pizzas, you have a better chance that if you only write best pizza in Tel Aviv, one sentence all of your website. So content is important, research is important, but also how you use and how you place the keywords on your website.
Is there software that could check how the SEO is on your website?
Yes,
Like
many. Some of them I have listed on the page for this week, some free tools that allow you to make a free checkup or audit of a website. So for your own website, for your client's website, you can basically run a check. It will give you a scorecard, will tell you what you need to improve, if you have any problems that you need to fix urgently, and how your website is performing for SEO.
What's it called?
You'll find it on the many
SEO
of them.
audit?
Next, continue. So after the keywords, you have content freshness. All the time, you say that you have updated information, and also the more you update the website, more frequently you update, once again, the better it is. Okay, so if you have a website that only updates once every 3 months, and your competitor is putting a new something on their website, a new picture, new text, a new article every day, then of course he has an advantage on you. So you want to try to keep your content up to date, but also refresh and update as much as possible. Another important factor is using all types of content. Like I said on Facebook, don't only use text, make it attractive by also using images and video, and even audio, okay? So Google, today, with their advanced algorithm, they already can also understand, read images, also maybe view videos, so they can try to find out what are you including in your website, and it will help you. Then you want to try also, you want to try to use, answers. So there's one famous website which is called Quora.com, Quora, Quora.com, Quora, and the whole website is based on questions and answers. So people ask a question, and then anyone can answer from the public, or experts in the public can answer. And you can do the same thing on your website. Think about it, that people on Google, they usually ask a question to Google, okay? So if you put on your website the question that the public will ask themselves, and you then answer it directly on your website, you have a very good chance of being found when someone is searching for it. It's a very natural way of showing the answers. Next. Now we're talking in the second column is about architecture. So like I said, your engine, your search engine your website must be easy to crawl, to go through your pages. And one of the ways that it is done is by structuring the website your right way. Once again, if you're using WordPress or Wix, most of the work will be done for you, so you don't have to worry too much about it. I want to mention one thing is that technically, there is something called site map. Okay? What is a site? I should know this word, site map. It is a file, a computer file. Okay? It's not part of the website, it's a separate computer file that is sitting on the server, on the address of your website, on the server. And this is only accessible basically to computers. No one will go to it directly, only computers. Google, when they go to your website, they will search automatically if you have a sitemap. If you have it, the first thing they're going to go and look into is the sitemap. The sitemap will basically tell Google how your website is structured. What is the home page? What are the the categories of your website? Which pages you want to push to give priority, and you can even tell on the sitemap to Google, don't index, don't put these pages of my website live. For example, if you have some secret pages, some pages that are only available for members, you don't want the public to see, you can tell Google through the sitemap, don't index those pages on Google. They will only be visible to people who have the access to it directly. Then, as I mentioned, it's very important to be optimized for any type of devices. Okay. Now, Google in 2017, I think, or 16, 17, or 17, they launched basically a new rule, a new protocol. Okay, it's called AMP. It stands for Advanced Mobile Protocol, and it's basically shortcuts of a way to show your mobile website in a way that is faster, that it loads faster. It's like a programming language that translates your website into an easy website for the phone. So it can load faster on the phone, and also in the right way, that it won't be broken, that you won't need to do like this 20,000 times to read the page. The page will be very much laid out for any type of a device, okay? And once again, if you're using all the new advanced website building platforms, usually it will be automatically optimized and ready for mobile and for any type of device. But if you have, or your client, or you're using an old website from 6, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, you always need to check that it is mobile friendly. And if you go to Google, you type Google AMP or Google Mobile Test, you will find tools that will tell you if your site is optimized and ready for mobile. Then another important thing is not to duplicate content. So Google, because it is reading all the website, all the pages, all the content, you want to try to avoid to have the same content in 2 places. Because Google will see it as a negative thing. They will say you're lazy, you're not professional, or you just try to copy content and make yourself bigger, but it's the same content, so it is not good. So you want to try to avoid duplicate content, both on your own, like copying the same text across different pages, and also copy other people's text word by word. Don't go to another website, take a 2,000 word article, copy paste it into your website. This will only hurt you. If you want to do it, to quote or to put some content from other websites on your website, you can do it in case that you put a link to the other website, that you take only a part of the article, and that you also give the background. You add your own words to it to give it the proper structure. So it is fine if you give it the right envelope, and of course it is legal if the people allow to copy their content on your website. You should always check before you do it. You had a question, go ahead.
Yes. How the landing pages can be affected by this duplicated, of course the landing pages are linked to a certain website. How do they get affected, how they can influence,
Good question.
bad influenced by these duplicated material?
Perfect. So usually landing pages, if you say landing page, for me it means either you don't care about SEO or you don't want even to be listed on Google. Because landing page is usually a landing page for something, for a campaign, for advertising campaign, for temporary time, for special promotion. So you don't want it to be available on Google all the time, okay? Only to the people who click on the ad at the right time. So you want to have control. So you don't need to be ranked in Google. And usually also Google will not rank you because usually you won't have enough text, or it will be the same content across different pages, so they don't go together. Okay, so you don't need to worry about SEO for landing pages.
Let's say 2 landing pages, similar content.
No, what you want to do, if you want to rank different pages for different types of services or products, you want to have inner pages. You want to have pages inside your website across different categories, and you have every page has its own text, and then every page can be ranked for its own keyword. Okay? And you can have sometimes some websites, their best ranked page is not their homepage. It's an inner page. It's a page from within the website. Maybe you have 100 pages on your website, and there is one page or one article that did really well and will be ranked very good and will bring you most of your traffic through Google. And you won't know until you try. So that's why it's very important to invest in every page, in every aspect of every page, not only in your homepage.
When you have a website on subscription and you have some content only for abonnee, only for subscribers, how can you use the contents for subscriber to be well ranked in Google without being available to?
You can't.
It's impossible?
Because if basically you don't want people to publicly to have access to content unless they have a password, then Google cannot read your website also. Google doesn't have your password. You understand? So usually it won't be ranked on Google. And you want to be sure that if you have a page that you don't need the password to look at it, but only, let's say, the people who have the link that you send them can access it, be sure not to index it on Google. Tell, or through the sitemap or through other tools, that you don't want it to be listed on Google, because if it's listed on Google, everyone can find it. Okay, so you want to be careful with it. Now, of course, the speed of how much time it takes to load your website is important. You can also, part of the testing, part of the ranking, part of the scorecard you have is how much time it takes to load the website. In average today, a good website should load in less than 2 seconds, in 1.5 seconds. If it takes more than 1.5 or 2 seconds, you're in trouble. So you need to check it, and you need to optimize your website to be sure that it loads faster. For example, if you're going to have a lot of pictures, 1,000 pictures on your homepage, it's not a good idea, because it will take a lot of time to load. So check, try. If it's too slow, try to optimize as much as you can. There are tools to find online for that. One of the rules they also changed last year, Google, is that because of a lot of hacking issues that people were using what is called like a backdoor. They were using holes in websites that if your website is not completely secured, when someone visits your website, let's say I will visit the website, it is not secure, it has a little door that a hacker can go inside. Then when I visit the website, they can install on my computer something, and then they can access my information. They can steal maybe my credit card, maybe my passwords, only by me going to a website of someone else that wasn't secured as it should be. And that's why they required, since last year, that all websites that want to be ranked on Google should be secured. What is the sentence a website is secured? HTTPS. Okay, you know it already. You have the HTTPS in the address, and you have a little lock on the Google browser. Just showing it to you briefly so you know what I'm talking about. Let's have a look. You see here, HTTPS, and you see this lock. This lock means it's a secure website. If I click on it, I will see additional information. Connection is secure, okay? And there's a certificate. The certificate is basically the proof that your site is secure for password, for credit card numbers, for against hacking. If I click on it, it will even give me information about the certificate. When was it issued, by who? You don't need to know that, just it is how it is working. What is important to remember is that if you have a website or you get a website of the client, check that it is secure. Once again, if you use a service like Shopify or Wix, it will be secure automatically. If it's not, if you're using WordPress, it will not be automatically secured. You will have to make sure to buy a security certificate through your domain provider or your hosting provider. GoDaddy, Namecheap, whatever. So check it. If you didn't do it yet, then go to your domain provider and make your website secure. Very important. Another thing that can help is the URL. URL is basically the address itself, right? Like the domain name or the address, something.com slash, no, pizza.com/Tel Aviv. Okay, so this is the URL. And if you're using, or if you have an URL or domain name that includes the keywords, you have extra points. So if you want to be ranked for veterinary in Netanya, and you have your website is veterinary.co.il / you have a page for Netanya and a / Tel Aviv for a page for Tel Aviv, it's better because it will be easier to be found on Google if you have the keywords inside your address itself. Moving along to the next column. Like I mentioned, and I showed you on Google, the titles of the website, the first thing that people see on Google, right, is something that you can control, and this is important. Same thing about description, which is those 2 or 3 lines that describe what your website or what the page is all about. And you have control about each page on your website. So every page can have or should have its own description that is relevant with their own keywords. And one of the way it is called, if you find it somewhere, you're looking for it, is a meta tag. So a meta tag is basically the coding name of the description that Google will show to the users when they search or they find your page. You want to be careful also about the, like I said, the structure. I mentioned it, like which is like the enhanced listings, like what I showed you with the hours or the phone numbers, things like that. Headings is something related to the coding of the website. Okay, it's basically normally when we say the headings, it's the size, the titles. So you have, welcome to blah blah blah. It's the biggest title. It's what is called in the coding language of the website H1 heading number 1. This is the biggest. Then you have H2, which is a subtitle of your website that you can, for example, have welcome to Pizza Tel Aviv. Then you have menu and pricing. So those can be, menu and pricing can be H2 tags, meaning they are bigger than normal text, but smaller than the H1. All those things, they are also giving Google a clue, an idea of, once again, what is the most important words, titles, and subjects of your websites. So once again, in the past, when you were building a page, a website, you had to write H1, the word, and then close H1. H2, the words, and close H2. Today, you don't have to do it. You can do it directly. If you're using Wix or WordPress, you can start typing, and you can choose the size of the font, or choose yourself by clicking, I want it to be header 1, header 2, and everything will be done for you. Just for you to remember what is going on the background of Google. Here you have the mobile page format I mentioned, the AMP. That's important for the speed, and it gives you extra points on Google. Then we have trust. Trust has different factors. You have the authority. Authority, Google is trying to look at it by looking at different signals, for example, that are number signals, that are like how many people are having links to your website, how many shares do you have to your content. All those things that can be taken into account when they think about the authority of your website. Then you have the engagement. The engagement is what is the behavior of the people on your website. If you have a website, you should have something which is called Google Analytics that you can install on your website. And then you will know how much time is everyone spending on your website in average. If they're only spending 5 seconds, it means you have a problem. Either you're not attracting the right people, or your content is not relevant or good enough. You want people to stay 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes on your website, depending on what your website is about. So Google will also take it into account. And if you only have short time visitors, then Google will see it as a bad sign, and you will be penalized by short time, or you will get extra points for long time. And not only the time, it's also how many pages inside your website they will look at. If they only go to one page and then leave, this is something which is called the bounce rate. So meaning that they bounce after they went to one page. You will see it everywhere on Google Analytics, the bounce rate. If you have a bounce rate of 90%, it means that 90% of the visitors to your website only saw one page on your website. And after that, they closed your website. You want to try to have the lowest bounce rate as possible, so you want people to visit a few pages on your website. Okay? The better, the more, the better. Go ahead.
And that's excellent what you just taught us. And of course, it's very good for someone to know where your client, whatever the visitor sees and where they stay one time. But how about those websites that are, I don't know how you call it, like roll down sites that are infinite, that there are no pages to go in? You just roll down, keep rolling up. Does Google see it as just one page? And the analytics, how does it work? I mean,
so the answer is complex. It can be different things, okay? Because today the websites are more advanced. So it can look one way and it can build another way. Like in the background, it can work. So you can see it as one page, but Google can see it as many pages because it's basically loading them as the background. When you go down, it's basically finding new information or loading information from an inside page where you don't see it. So there are different ways to build websites, and sometimes it can be one long website. But once again, most commonly, usually, and better for SEO is to have many pages and different pages, not one page. Okay. Remember yourself that basically one long web page is like a landing page. It's like one page. So you want to have many pages, not only one page. Finally, here in this trust column, you have reputation. So, for example, one of the elements of reputation is the age of your website. A new website has less reputation than old website. If you've been around for 10 years, or if you're going to buy the domain of someone else, but this domain has been online for 10 years, then you also have some advantage of having an old domain. Older domain has added advantage. As long as, don't forget, if this domain has been used for bad things or has been punished by Google, then it won't help you to have an old domain, obviously. Continuing here in this column of the links. So links, with the time progressed, then because people have been using links as also a lot of spam and a lot of techniques or tactics to try to trick Google by buying links, by posting a lot of links. So today in 2019, links are less important or less easy to use to build your rankings and to increase your rankings, but still it's important. So Google, before the numbers, they're going to look at the value of the links. And they know today in a very advanced way to check where do the links come from. If they come from real websites that are relevant, that are good websites, that are trusted, that are references, then it will help you. If they come from anonymous websites, new websites, low quality websites, spammy websites, then it won't help you. Very simple. So value is important for the links. Also, the words, the anchors. What is an anchor? An anchor is the words that are attached to a link. So if you go to any website, sometimes you will see words with a line, a blue line next to it. The blue line next to it, the underline is basically a link, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have a word and you attach the word to a link, to an outside address or inside address inside your website, it's basically called the anchor. And it's telling Google that this link, this page is relevant or includes these keywords. So they will also look at this. Finally, backlinks. Backlinks are simply put links from other websites that are sending people back to your website. So it's not only about the quantity, it's also the quality. The more high quality links, the better. So normally you can't really, there's no easy way to do it. You only need to have good content, share it, and then if you are good, if you're an authority in your domain, then other websites will use content or interview you and then put a link back to your website. So this will help you. Yes, you can still today buy backlinks from other websites. Yes, you can exchange links with other websites, like telling them, I put a link on your page, on my page, you'll put a link to me on your page, things like that. But it can work a little bit, but there's no magic. It won't put you in the #1 spot. And if you do it too much or not in the right way, you will get caught by Google. Finally, here in this column, you have everything which is to do with the user itself. So the Google search results are also not only related to the website, but also to the user that is looking for this information on Google. Like I mentioned to you, when I search for pizza, it knows I'm in Israel, close to Tel Aviv. So it showed me results that are relevant for people in Israel and close to Tel Aviv. So Google will look and will show different results, different pages, different search results to someone in different countries. Okay, so they're looking at the country, obviously, country, language, things like that. Also, even better than that, the locality, meaning not only country, but also the specific location, region that you are, the language that you use, things like that. They will also look at what is the user experience on the website, meaning in the general rule, they take everything together. If it's good on mobile, if there's only text, but also images, there's video, there's links to Facebook, all of this together gives the user experience. And Google is trying to simulate the human user experience as much as possible. This is what they are trying to do. They will also look at how many times someone visits a website. If they will see that a lot of people come back to the website more than one time, it will give you extra points. Then they will also look even at why someone went to a website. They know, or they try to know, by looking at everything together, when you went to this website, if you were trying to find to make a joke to your friend, if you wanted to buy something, if you wanted to research something for your college studies, they know from the context and from how much time you spent there and how much time you come back there and what you search in general. They know what is your intent as the user, and according to that, they can also rank the website accordingly and show different search results. Now let's go and see briefly the things that will hurt you. Example of bad things, toxic things. These are a little bit more technical, but I'll try to explain them and go to them briefly. Number one here is something which is called cloaking. Cloaking, okay, is basically trying to fake the page. It's trying to tell Google that you're going to send them, when someone clicks, he will go to one place, showing them one URL and one description or one title. Let's say the title will show Pizza Tel Aviv, the domain will be pizzatelaviv.com, but when I click on it, at the end, I will be in Free Gaza, Jerusalem. Okay? So it happens, and it's a trick. So programmers, they can trick and use those things to redirect from one address to another, sometimes to hack, to go inside the websites, existing websites for other people and change the title, or puts a program that when they go to the website of the hacked website, they will go to another website. So this is called cloaking. It's trying to faking or to use other websites in your advantage. Of course, this is toxic, and Google at the end will find it and will punish you. Another way of doing it is called making schemes. So schemes is basically trying, once again, to buy links, to build many fake websites, to try to make your more links to your websites. Yes. So all those things are bad, and you will be caught. Also using many times the same keywords it's called stuffing. Stuffing your keywords a lot of time in the website in a way that is not natural or too aggressive is not good. sometimes people even try to hide keywords. What do I mean by hiding keywords? I mean like you don't see it with your eye, but in the code of the website, you put the keywords many, many, many times. So Google is not stupid, and they know that if you put a keyword many times or only in the code and not in the real website for people to see with their own eyes that you're trying to trick it, it won't work. If you steal content, obviously, from other websites, then they will know that you're a pirate. If you put movies from television, from I don't know, other websites, if you put music videos, things that you don't have the copyright to, you will be flagged by Google and they will remove you. Yes, also pictures. And also if you have too much advertising or pop-ups, things that are disturbing people, it will also hurt you. So don't exaggerate with ad-heavy content. And finally, I want to give you a brief overview of emerging verticals, meaning elements that are becoming more popular, more important in 2019, so you can also know what type of content you can focus on your website. So one is voice. Voice is everything related to all those voice machines and loudspeakers and your phone. So today, especially in America, but also in Europe and everywhere, all the new phones, they have voice-activated searches. So you can say, Alexa, what is the weather for tomorrow? Alexa, I want to order a pizza, or hey Google, I want to order pizza, or hey Siri, and when you say it, okay, this will happen. So all your phones will try and will go search for you. So you can use it as in your advantage. You can basically, thank you, no one. You want to learn and use voice elements inside your programs or services. It's a bit more technical. You will need someone that is an expert in this, but this is something you should know and look into it for the future. Second thing is the local listings, local reviews, local maps. As I showed you in Google results, they are using local based stuff, so use it in your advantage. I'm going to show you in one of the next lessons how you can build your own listing. Use your address and so that you can be on Google with the reviews, with the maps, the phone number, all those added features that you should use in your advantage. Then you have images, meaning that today Google is showing sometimes in the first page pictures or even videos from YouTube. So Google has become smart enough to know to detect what is the image that you're showing. They know if you're showing a football or a pizza. And if someone will search for pizza, it will show them pictures of pizza. So if you have a picture of a pizza on your website, it will help you. And same thing across all different industries. So use pictures, illustrations, videos also. As you can see, video. People are looking for video, they like videos. And if you're using videos or you're linking to videos, it will help you as well. So I hope I gave you a very broad and general overview of what is SEO, what are the elements or the factors that are influencing the position on Google, and how the Google search engine is built, how websites are built, how it all works together as a machine. Obviously, it's not something that you can learn in 1 hour in 1 day, but when you're going to start working in this field for yourself or for other companies, now that you know this, it will help you to understand how things work and what you should be looking for or how to use them in your favor next time. Any questions? If not, then an update. First of all, I would say you can. In the past, I gave you a link to one of the resources, Skillshare. A lot of courses or videos about SEO. You can go there. Skillshare. I think I gave you a link. You can get like 60 days for free. Skillshare. You have it in the resources of the previous weeks. You have a link to Skillshare. You can get 2 months for free, and you can access all the different courses and videos they have for free. You don't need to pay for any courses. So you can watch all of them if you want. You have some about SEO. You can have a look at this. There are a lot of resources online. I put also links to some of the biggest websites about SEO that have a lot of information on it as well. And last thing I want to mention that I mentioned before that we should have a live online session for 1 hour. It was supposed to be this week Wednesday, but the platform for it is not ready yet. They have to organize it with the software company, Yahav College, so they will update me and probably it will be next week, but I will confirm with you the date and the hour once I know it. But anyway, it will not be this Wednesday. So thank you for today. I'll see you all next Monday as usual.
Thank you. This was the best.
Thank you. Happy to hear it. Thank you very much. I'm happy. Happy you enjoyed it.
I think you need to follow the.
Bye.